See, going? Okay, awesome. Okay, hey everyone, Jessica Seville here from thecanary.com. I'm not my normal background because we are changing around my office, so you have to see some of the boards behind me. But you can see I have my opportunities for kidney disease, which I pin up and look at all the time. So, if you're new here, if you don't know me, registered dietitian, renal nutrition expert, and I love to come in here and share a little bit about, love to come in here and share just a little bit about some huge pieces that can impact your kidney function. No one wants to end up on dialysis, and you don't have to. We really, really love showing people how you can preserve kidney function. So today, this whole week, we're going to be talking about fatigue and tiredness with the holidays coming, with, big event this week with Thanksgiving. Fatigue really, really can come to light, and I want to make sure that we have talked about this. And then next week, we're actually going to talk about foods we're grateful for to keep you in the grateful mood. But this week, I really want to hammer into fatigue. So let's start out with some really broad basics. The first thing is why you might be tired, right? It is definitely a common symptom with chronic kidney disease that people complain of being tired. Sometimes it is just brushed off as, you have chronic kidney disease, so you're just going to be tired, but that's not necessarily fair in my mind, because there are reasons why you're tired. For example, let me give some things we see. Lack of calories. People are on a restricted diet and then they over-restrict and they're just not eating enough. They don't get enough calories. They don't get enough fat. Can be a huge one. We see people that are taking their protein really low, that they don't actually get more fat in their diet. So they're just not a lot of calories, not a lot of fat. People that are having low blood pressures throughout the day, that will definitely make you very, very tired. If you are noticing, kind of these drops in energy, make sure you're testing your blood pressure. Even sometimes there is such thing as a nocturnal, there's such thing as nocturnal hypertension as well, where your blood pressure can go up really high and it does disrupt your sleep. So, for some people, we'll have them test their blood pressure even 4 times a day and just kind of keep a log of it. Anemia, if your hemoglobin's low, that can cause fatigue. Poor sleep habits, we all are bringing our cozy phones in with us to bed. We like to watch the screen at night, text someone good night, whatever. Screens in the bedroom are not good. It does disrupt sleep and the deepness of the sleep that you can get into. Highly recommend you get your screens out of the bedroom as much as possible. You can read. Old-fashioned reading with a lamp by your bed can work great for kind of decompressing. Stress is a huge driver of fatigue, and I can speak to this personally as well. When I'm very stressed, I kind of just shut down and want to go take a nap. But even in the literature, you'll see that stress will really drive fatigue. And when you get into a holiday season, or with all the things that are going on in the world, evaluating your stress levels, evaluating how you're feeling or responding to events around you can be a really powerful way of starting to deal with it and alleviate some of the fatigue from that. High blood sugars definitely can cause fatigue. If you're diabetic, working on getting those down slowly can be helpful. And depression. Depression is really common when it comes to a chronic disease diagnosis. It's nothing to be ashamed of, but it's something to recognize and dig into a little bit. Just because you have depression doesn't always mean that you're going to need to take another medication. I think sometimes people are scared of bringing up mental health because they don't want to just be given another medication. Sometimes it's a discussion about how you change your mindset and how you can accept that and talk with people about it. But depression can be another one. And for some people, not enough exercise. If you're sedentary all the time, then then you really are not able to drive some energy processes as well. So sometimes the way that you can address fatigue is by being just a little bit more active. Now, all of these are not this is a complex issue. As you can see, there's a lot of different pieces that can go into fatigue, as well as a just really cruddy diet. If people are eating a lot of foods that are not nourishing, that can definitely make you very, very tired. So a lot of pieces that go into fatigue, which is why it can be helpful to have a professional look at your case and what's going on and see if there are any recommendations. What we see happen sometimes is people will go in, they'll talk to their physician, they'll say, I'm tired all the time. And sometimes the physician just kind of brushes it under the rug as well. You have chronic kidney disease, so you're going to be tired. What you can do as a patient to be a better patient and be proactive for yourself is to ask some more questions. For example, why does chronic kidney disease make me more tired? And you may have a answer such as there's a lot of inflammation. Well, why is there a lot of inflammation in my case? Because the kidneys aren't filtering out toxins. Well, what can I do to, why aren't they filtering out as many toxins? Is there anything else I can do? If you keep asking why and what, you can get down to a solution. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll use questions such as, are there any other ideas you have? Is there anything, maybe even a little bit alternative or unusual that you've seen have worked for other people that I could look into? And that can help drive the discussion with your physician or doctor about fatigue. Something that was really interesting, I read a few studies about this, and they looked at practitioners that were addressing fatigue, right? And what they saw is that the physician, when someone presents that as like a symptom or a problem, their mind immediately goes to clinical factors, right? Very medical issues, anemia, inflammation. That's where their brain will go first. If they don't have an answer to it, they're just kind of like, I don't know, it might just be because you have chronic kidney disease. That's the forefront of their clinician's attention, which isn't terrible, right? They're thinking very clinically, trying to solve medical puzzles. But what they find is that when a physician will, or any sort of clinician moves to just solving a clinical problem, they miss huge other contributing factors, and they don't even consider them, doesn't even cross their brain. So asking questions, could, I've been feeling kind of sad. Could depression be playing into this? Could, sleep be playing into this? Asking other questions can help, jog their brains and their memories to give you some other helpful tips. So, can be a very complicated issue. One thing that we notice for our patients is that fatigue or reduced fatigue is one of the first signs that we're on the right track. It's one of the first things that we see improve. On the other side, it's also one of the things that sometimes we see with a fully plant-based diet, that people will feel more tired. And not for everyone, but sometimes we'll see that there's more fatigue. And in the case of there being more fatigue, that gives us some really important information. If someone's 100% plant-based and they don't report back saying, I feel really good eating this way, if they say inside, I'm tired, I'm cold, I don't feel full ever, that gives us some really good information on what we would do next to help out. Sometimes it's a vitamin or mineral deficiency. Sometimes it has to do with thyroid, and we really want them to go get their thyroid checked up. Sometimes it's just simply they're not getting enough calories, not getting enough fat in their diet, and we need to really work on that angle together and make sure that they're getting enough nutrients in. That can be really, really important. It's sometimes so simple. The other thing sometimes that we'll see is as people are changing their diet, their blood pressure will come down. That's a very effective strategy, is to bring your blood pressure down with diet. And they're tired. And so that's something that we keep on top of, ask our patients to make sure and be watching their blood pressure and communicate with their doctor. So the last little tidbit, little hook that I'm going to give you that will go into conversations later this week is that caffeine is not the only way to boost your energy. We prefer that people are able to stabilize energy, not having to keep boosting it with caffeine. So it's not the only way that you can stabilize or boost your energy. For some people, we like using adaptogenic herbs. There are some that are very safe for the kidneys, and they can work really, really good depending on the person. And I will talk more about those later on this week. If you're having that major afternoon slump, people say around 1 or 2, or around after lunch, I'm just so tired. That is not normal health. Having an afternoon slump or having big rise and falls, a roller coaster of energy throughout the day, or just crashing into bed at night, is not normal health. And it does give you a sign that there's some things you can change. Pulling out inflammation from the diet can really help stabilize those energy levels. Modifying the diet, I feel like cutting down on meat can be very helpful, or addressing digestion. Digestion is a very energy intensive process. So if you have poor digestion, you may be expending a lot more energy than you need to, just to get the food processed and through. So a lot of different ways that you can look at energy and fatigue. So for this week, we're going to be talking about fatigue all week long. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk about a few myths around fatigue and give you a few nuggets of action. We'd love to see you here again. We're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You can go over to our website, kiniardi.com, grab our mini guide, or sign up for our free class that we do every month. We do it once a month. It's not recorded, where we talk about the different 8 opportunities to preserve your kidney function. And that's really, really helpful for a lot of people to kind of clarify, potassium, phosphorus, sodium, protein, all these different things that can feel so overwhelming, and how you piece them together. Anyways, that's it for today. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.